Bonjour, bonjour ani, nana bonjour. Twanchi kiamete. Tessanyungwarida makoto dem yatehe kone. I'm a little brown bear, and I'm from the Bear Clan. And we always honor our elders, and my elder's Dahaji, and he's from the territories. And we always acknowledge our ancestry and where we're from. And so for me, as told by my grandmother, is my ancestry is from Oklahoma, and so part Cheyenne. But I've been adopted by Mohawk through my elder, Dahaji, adopted me and has given me the required teachings. And so I follow in his footsteps, and he's been my elder. And it's funny, I presented him with traditionally with tobacco leaves wrapped in a red sash, and I presented that to him, and he agreed to be my elder. And I always talk with him whenever I make any decisions and consult with him and stuff. So I just need to mention my elder. I have such great respect, and I'm so humbled that he's allowed me to be in his circle. So I just want to say hello to everybody, and hope everything is well with everyone's. And I'd like to talk about a few things today. One of them being building healthy relationships. And I think given what's going on in the world, we need to learn about how to build healthy relationships with one another, with ourselves, maybe our co-workers, our families as well. So, the things that I teach, one of them is the 3 C's to building a healthy relationship. So the first one is communication. And that's the sending and receiving of a clear message between one another. And we need to learn how to send those messages clearly. How many times has there been a double message sent? And then words get mixed. And if we send a clear message, a communication of what we need, but clearly state our needs. So communication is the first one. The second one is compromising. Doing something that the other person would like to do. Or if you're working on a project, giving something else the opportunity to help, to get their ideas on things, compromising on something. And the last one is pretty important. The last one is the commitment. And that's following through with what we say that we're going to do. A lot of times I hear, people say, oh, I didn't have time, or I didn't, then it wasn't important to you. Commitment is you're letting that person know that you're going, if you say 7 o'clock, you're going to be there at 7. It's following through with what you say that you're going to do. If you say you're going to do something, then be committed to following through with that. That builds healthy relationships between myself, between yourself, between your co-workers, between your friends, your family members. So communication, compromising, and commitment. And that falls right in line with the 7 grandfather teachings. And the 7 grandfather teachings teach us that we have to walk that way in a good way every day. Of a good mind, but of a mind that comes together with community. So building those relationships. And you need to learn to like yourself before you can like anyone else. Then to love yourself, then to love someone else. But it all starts with you liking yourself. And along with those relationships that we build, one of the things that I also teach is love is an action without expectations. You're there to help one another, not because of what you can get from that person down the road. It's because you truly want to help them. Apishka day. You want to help them. You want to help from the heart. There's no hierarchy in our communities. There's no presidents, vice presidents, and we're individuals. We're people. We're brothers and sisters. We're family helping one another. So, I want to take this opportunity. When we talk about the medicine wheel, we also talk about the medicines that we use. in the east, in the south, in the west, and in the north. And so for us, we have in the eastern direction, we have Sema, and which is our tobacco, and this is how we communicate with one another. This is what we use to ask for prayers or to ask for teachings from an elder. If you go to an elder and you want to ask for teaching, you would present either tobacco leaves wrapped in a red sash or tobacco tie, and you would go from left hand to left hand. So that's from heart to heart. And when you ask those things, you ask from heart to heart from them. So that's one of our medicines that we use, which is the tobacco. The other medicine that we use is the cedar. And this will sit in the southern direction. And our cedar is like purification. And as we purify things, we also put this in with our smudge bowls, and it crackles. And as it's crackling, it excites the spirits. They know that we're calling them to come and help. And we use cedar. We drink cedar tea. That helps for us to sleep at night. We have maybe half a cup, maybe once every 2 weeks or something. Cedar baths, which helps with trauma. For us, a lot of blood memory trauma, intergenerational traumas. It helps to wash over. So, but I gotta let you know though, you boil this, right? And you don't put this in the bathtub. It gets uncomfortable. You need to strain it and put the water in the bathtub. And just let it wash over you, and it'll help you. It'll help calm your body as well. And then we have sage. Oh, I love sage. So we use this in the mornings as well when we smudge. In the afternoons, maybe sometimes going to bed at night. Maybe you've had a really bad day or a rough day. And so we'll smudge. Some people call it cleansing. And it gets rid of negative energy that we may carry throughout the day. We pick up things throughout the day. If we want to ground ourselves again, sometimes we'll smudge our homes. I know I smudge in the morning when I get up and I go present my tobacco to the Creator and I say my prayers. I don't pray for myself. I just ask the Creator to guide me. But I pray for other people on their journeys. So we use sage. Some sage. We used to drink sage tea, sometimes cedar tea, because the wintertime, we didn't have vitamin C, so it ward off scurvies for us. So this is also known as a woman's medicine as well. I know in some teachings, women cannot touch the medicines during their moon time, but some teachings that the only medicine a woman can use is the sage to help her as well. And then, of course, we have sweetgrass. And sweetgrass is considered Mother Earth's hair. When we light this, it teaches us to be kind and to be gentle with one another. And I'll put sweetgrass over my doors as well. I'll use it when I'm before a feast. I'll use it. I'll burn it in the smoke. I will purify the food before we feast after a ceremony. So sweetgrass. I also sometimes will present it as friendship for other individuals that I meet. So this is another medicine that we will use as well in our smudge bowls, and depending on what kind of ceremonies that we're doing as well. The buffalo sage is hard, represents the man's sage. There's soft sage. We also have female sage as well that we use. So depending on the ceremonies and the circumstances that we're using. I have one other medicines that I use. These are the 4 sacred medicines, but I have a 5th medicine that I use. And that medicine is lavender. And for me, the lavender, I make lavender ties, but I use lavender plus some other herbs mixed in with those ties. And it helps with depression, anxiety, panic attacks. Sometimes you're feeling overwhelmed. So when I'm working with individuals, I will give 2. One they keep with them and one they put under their pillow. And that medicine, when they smell it, it helps to calm their spirit. And if they really anxiety, they squeeze it twice and it gets stronger for them. And there's one thing about the medicines that I've always been taught is if you take care of the medicines are going to take care of you. But you got to take care of the medicines. When we're picking cedar, I will go to cedar trees and I will present tobacco from left hand, and I will speak to those cedars and I will tell them who I am. I'll tell them why I'm there, and then I will put the tobacco on the ground. I'm thanking them for giving up their life to help heal our people. And then when I'm done, I don't pick from that one tree, I'll pick from several trees, because that tree will let the other trees know why I'm there. So those are just some of the things that we do. And we got to remember too, they sit in those specific directions that we use. And again, if you take care of those medicines, they're going to take care of you. And when we smudge, we put the medicines in our bowl. And sometimes when we're in a circle, I'll pass out tobacco, and people will take that from their heart. And they will say a prayer as I pass and put it into there. So that smoke will go up to the sky world, to the Creator or God or whoever that you talk with to help you on that journey. So these are just some of the things that we do and that we talk about with our medicines. And remember, the east is for tobacco. The south is for cedar. The west is for the sage. And the sweetgrass is for the north. So I want to talk about the wampum belt. And, this, my elder Dahaji gave me this, honored me with this belt and the teachings of this belt. And, I've been told that these wampum belts go back to the 1600s. This is our computers, and this is what we use to tell our stories. I've seen some of the wampum belts that my elder has, the Confederacy, and what talks of, and every once in a while, back in the early days, he would sit and he would go over them a little bit with me, and I'm still learning, because everything that he teaches me is orally done. And so with this wampum belt, it represents people on their journeys, on their canoes, right? And the three whites are the peace, power, and righteousness. To be kind, to honor, to respect, to love one another as we go on these journeys. And it teaches us that we need to be kind with one another as we go. A lot of hard days, and respect and kindness goes a long way for individuals. The two purple rows, and we also got the grass and the waters on each side, and the two purple rows represents those rivers of life, and that we're in our own canoes. And as we go upriver in our canoes, we stay in our own canoes, because if we get out of our own canoes, we can capsize one another. And we don't want to capsize one another. And capsizing, gossiping, how many times does somebody gossip about you and how hurtful that was? And it interrupts, our flow of life. So these two rows are represented are each one of us on our own canoes, on our own journey. However, we have paddles in our canoes. And if our brother or sister should lose one of their paddles, we would pass our paddles back and forth to help to paddle upstream, to help one another. A lot of times people will say, power is knowledge, power, knowledge. Well, your knowledge is no good unless you share it. And the teachings that I receive, my elder always says, is you need to share those with people. It doesn't matter what race you're from. It doesn't matter. If you look at the medicine wheel, the yellow, the red, the black, and the white, the yellow represents the yellow nation, the Asian nation. The red represents the First Nations, Métis and Inuit. The black represents the black and the brown nation, and the white represents the non-native. The people's wheel, it's inclusivity to inclusiveness. We're always talking about this appropriation. I say appreciation. Appreciation. I've always been taught that if somebody's coming to seek knowledge and they're respectful of protocols, that we teach. The same thing with being on those two canoes. We pass our paddles, our tools back and forth to help one another to go upstream. And there are two figures that are on this wampum belt. And my elder has often talked about the white heart, and where the arms are down, and the one with the dark heart with the hand up. And he always says that if we ever become heavy-handed over one another, we hasten to counsel, and we sit and we talk about our differences. If I have difficulties with you, I will present tobacco from left hand to left hand. We can sit into a circle and talk about our differences and leave as brothers and sisters after we've talked about our differences. But if we ever become heavy-handed, we don't solve anything that way. We need to sit and talk, communication, talk openly about what we need to talk about. And we got to remember that these roles can always be reversed. Instead of they becoming heavy-handed over us, we become heavy-handed over someone else. We are no better, no worse than anyone else on this journey. But we need to continue to help one another as we continue our journey, as we continue with our canoes. And we're going to meet many people on that river of life, and we need to be prepared for that. Kindness, peace, power, and righteousness, to love, honor, and respect one another as we continue those journeys. And we need to be kind to our brothers and sisters and to help them, to extend our hands and to say, do you need help? May I be of service to you. Remember that medicine wheel? I call it the people's wheel, or it's called the sacred hoop. But it's about being inclusive. Inclusivity as we continue this journey together. Now,